Hi students, welcome to our channel Physics Concepts by AliSir. In today's session, we are going to face we are going through a challenge that is then 15 days, then getting 90% plus percentage in the class 10 PS board exam. So then this is already then I have applied this is strategy, then the students whom I am teaching, and most of the students are getting then 50 out of 50, and least mark is about 46 to 47. So this is the proven strategy, and this will be applicable for you also. So if you just within the span of 15 days, if you are supposed to follow this strategy, this is strategy systematic and practical and proven strategy, if you follow 100%, you will get maximum marks. That's minimum 90%. If you are completely following the total suggestions instructions given here, then 100% you will get the 50 out of 50 also. Chances are more and more. Now let us see the exam pattern first of all. In this class 10 this year, the total syllabus and as well as the paper model has been changed. Even the earlier there was no such weightage given for class 10 exams. This year the board has been given the weightage of the chapters also. Then we have total 8 chapters. In these 8 chapters, then 4 chapters are chemistry and 4 chapters are physics. Out of these 8 chapters, then here now let us divide these all things as per the weightage given by the board: 8 marks, 4 marks, 2 marks and 1 mark. And exactly the questions what we are discussing here, and 99% probability to get in the exam. Not a probability, then exactly we can guess also and see that how it is. Now first of all, now let us start discussing about 8 marks questions. Then in the 8 marks questions, majorly then you will be asked then activity or differences, and so those will be asked. So in activity, then for a description, then you will be given 6 marks, and a diagram will be given 2 marks. So in this activity, whatever the activities you are learning, then you have to write one perfect method, because 8 marks you have to get. So if 8 marks you have to get in sense, then you have to give, then here is not only the quality, even quantity also matters. So as soon as that apart from the stuff content what you are writing, you have to maintain a little volume also. So then how to that make such volume is, then for that one, if an activity is there, you have to write then aim. For example, air and water are essential for a corrosion. How will you prove? By means of an activity. If the question is asked you, then you have to follow this one. First you should write aim, the next the operators required, next procedure. Here is the most important thing. The once coming to the procedure, then you must write this all procedure as points wise, and at the end you can write a conclusion. If it is possible, try to add precautions should be taken, supported by the diagram. And diagram has to be drawn very neatly, and apart from the labeling. So this time will be sufficient, and immediately then 100% you will be given 8 marks. This is what. Again, coming to the terms. For example, explain the following terms. Then the first term will be, then again if it is atmospheric refraction, minimum to minimum you have to write then half base. Then what you have to write in the atmospheric refraction? First, for every term you have to write the definition. So what is meant by the atmospheric refraction? Next one, then why it is causing, the reason you should write. And the third one, practical life active observations. Then in the atmospheric refraction, where we are seeing these are atmospheric refraction examples, those all we have to you have to give a note. So like that, if the terms are given, then each term should be written a half page. Then 100% you will be given 8 marks, because 4 terms will be given. Sometimes if the question is lengthy enough, for example, now if reflection of scattering of light, that is scattering of light, of course scattering of light, or then twinkling of stars is then it is having little bit more volume. So then in such case 1 page enough. If the simple terms given, for example hypermetropia, you need to write half page. Then like that you can analyze whatever the questions given is. Okay, and afterwards, now coming to the 8 marks questions, that this is the procedure you must write 8 marks questions. Now let us see then 8 marks questions, what are the lessons and what are the questions will come in exam. Exactly follow this, then these are the questions I will give you, then most probably then those only will come. The first lesson is chemical reactions and equations. From this lesson majorly 3 questions only will be asked you. The first question is then just explain by means of an example then types of chemical reactions. So chemical combination, decomposition, displacement, double displacement. You should write the definition, example, mathematical expression also will be added advantage to you. What is mathematical expression? So for example, now 2 elements we are taking, A and one element plus B another element. Put together it comes as one single compound AB. Mathematically it's not correct actually, A plus B never be equal to AB, and so A plus B that gives AB. Mathematically we can express like this, and so like that then you must write definition, then example, one example enough. So C plus O2 that gives CO2, and the third one it is a mathematical expression. Like that you can write 4 marks, 4 steps, 4 types of reactions, then we will get 8 marks. The second one is the differences between a displacement and a double displacement, and that one also you can write. You must write, if the question is asked in form of write the differences, you must write that table. So first you have to write one table, and one side is displacement, the second side is double displacement, and followed by those each point has to be written. Then all the points should be written as number wise. First definition, then after writing the definition just draw lines. Like that you have to make a neat appearance. Okay, and afterwards the most important one, and here is that is then balancing the equations. In the textbook then you have given one word equations and 2 word equations, and 2 word equations and one the symbolic equations. So if this time if it is possible to learn how to write those all compounds, balance the equations, you can go ahead. Otherwise one simple method is just memorize those. Then how to, then what is meant by memorize this? For example, this equation is given NaOH plus NaOH plus HCl, that is NaCl plus H2O. So this equation once it is given, then you have to balance that equation. That balancing also just you memorize, that will get it. Actually this is a balanced equation, and so like that. And again the third one is the mostly from this lesson some terms also will come. Mostly the terms are that is about corrosion, rancidity, oxidation, and again redox reaction. This will be, these are the questions will be given. 4 types of chemical changes, differences between a chemical common decomposition and displacement, and again third one is balancing the equations, and the fourth one is the terms. Okay, that's about only the first lesson. These 4 questions only just you have to focus. So if and if just you want to go through the electrolysis of water also, then including the diagram. And the second one is, so the first one is chemical reactions and equations, and the next one lesson is metals and non-metals. In this metals and non-metals, no terms, nothing, only 3 questions are there. The first question is air and water essential for corrosion. So you should be very careful about this question, very easy question, and supported by the diagram. And again in third diagram you are never supposed to forget about. The third test tube we will use anhydrous calcium chloride, that you don't forget. That one you just remember that 2 times you repeat that. In the third test tube you will take anhydrous calcium chloride, and so that's the second one is then how the metals are reacting with the reaction of metals with the water. And so 3 situations we will take. Number 1, normal water means sodium and potassium, how they reacts. Next one, normal water, boiling water, calcium, how it is reacts. And afterwards remaining metals, copper, iron, these things, then we will expose to the steam. So that is the second question. And the next one is the third one. This second question should be supported by the diagram. And the third question is, it's about the reaction of metals with the metal salts. So how, that is a very simple one. Aim you should write, operators required, procedure supported by the diagram. That is about the 3 questions, just only these 3 questions in the metals and non-metals, just you can finish off this lesson. And the next one is carbon and compounds. In this one also majorly 3 questions and some terms are there. And the first question is then in the what are the cleaning action of a soap. In the cleaning action of soap, then you should write these all things points wise. Then you should write micelle, the definition and a cleaning procedure, and afterwards supported by the once micelle diagram, and afterwards cleaning different steps of steps are there for cleaning the diagram, or for not cleaning the diagram, for a cleaning action of a soap. Different stages of the diagrams are there. Those all diagrams also you have to express, you have to draw. And afterwards, then we have terms also in this. Most important term is oftenly asking homologous series. Explain the following terms. Number 1, homologous series, substitution reaction, addition reaction, esterification reaction. So these will be given, and so those will be the terms. These are about the 3 lessons from the chemistry. Chemical equations, chemical reactions and equations, metals and non-metals, carbon and compounds. Coming to the physics, then the first lesson is that's about a human and a colorful world. In this human eye and a colorful world, the first most important one is myopia. This question will be asked you in the different ways. A student sitting in the last bench not able to see the board clearly, then what defect he is suffering from, how will you correct it? That question will be asked you. So then you have to draw any. The first one, the question has to be answered like this. First of all, what is meant by myopia? The definition: the inability of seeing the distant objects, able to see the near objects, is called as a myopia. Then relevant terms, myopia also called as. Next, the myopia reason. What is the reason? Then what is the effect, where the image is forming? Then what is the correction? The word biconvex lens. Then myopia can be corrected with the biconcave lens, and that has to be underlined. And afterwards, this diagram, these questions should be answered along with the 3 diagrams. So those are all diagrams, then you have to write. And afterwards, myopia, first number 1 question from myopia, and the second one is hypermetropia. And so the remaining all are terms. Then the first one is the scattering of light. They explain the following terms: scattering of light, rainbow formation, and again atmospheric refraction, Tyndall effect, and Tyndall effect, and scattering of light, Tyndall effect. So these are, and why stars appear so twinkling. These all things will be asked as terms. The next one is then electricity. In the electricity, majorly 3 questions are most important. The first one is Ohm's law. The question will be asked in the different ways. The first one is define Ohm's law and explain the experimental procedure. Then next one is how will you explain the verification of Ohm's law by means of a neat sketch. That's another one. The next one is what is the relation between potential difference and a current? Explain by means of an activity. When the question is asked you, then you must write first of all the circuit has to be drawn. In the circuit, make sure that and ammeter and manganese wire, and also then nichrome wire. This year we are using nichrome wire. Actually, manganese wire and nichrome wire we can use, because those are alloys. So the constant temperature has to be maintained. For that we can take an alloys. And afterwards, then again, apart from that, ammeter, voltmeter, and copper wire, connecting wires. These all things has to be drawn properly, and supported by that table, a serial number and a number of units of the current, potential difference, and V by I. And afterwards is supported by a linear graph, the graph between VI graph, that has to be drawn. Okay, that's about the 3 questions. The first question, and the second question is R series supported by the circuit, and next one is R parallel. These 3 questions you should write. And afterwards, apart from that one, then some terms also there. And what are the terms are? Here is the most important one is, in the terms of Ohm's law also will be given. So what you have to write Ohm's law? You are not supposed to, if the question is asked in the terms what is Ohm's law, you don't write again these all active, time won't sufficient. So you need to write only few things. Then what is Ohm's law, and what is where the Ohm's law applied, what are the ohmic substances, and so these things should be written. And what is the graph of the Ohm's law, and if it is possible non-ohmic substance not even in the syllabus, so then you can skip that. And afterwards, then potential difference, then electric current, and most important is short circuit and fuse, overloading. And these are questions will be asked you in the terms. Okay, right. And the next one is the most important, then last lesson, that is magnetic effects of electric current. In this magnetic effect of electric current, then just only 3 questions are there. These 3 questions you prepare thoroughly along with the diagram, then 100% you will get 8 marks in this lesson easily. Just 3 questions. The first question is, then how do you prove that current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field? Then in the bracket, most of the cases will be given what is air-stirred experiment. If this heuristic experiment is given, then you have to write the procedure, aim, operators required, and procedure supported by the diagram. And here, in this diagram, then heuristic experiment, you will take a ABCD plane. On that plane, you have to place a magnetic compass. This is the heuristic experiment. The same question will be in the second way also. That is, how will you prove that current carrying a straight wire produces a magnetic field? Then otherwise, then the heuristic experiment right for this one also. But if the question is given like this, how do you prove that current carrying wire produces the concentric circles or circular loops? This word comes no, then you must write the straight wire one. Straight wire one, the difference between heuristic experiment and this straight wire experiment is, in the heuristic experiment, then we are taking ABCD plane, right? On that one, we are placing a magnetic compass. But in case of this straight wire, you have to draw the concentric circles. Apart from that one more separate diagram also should be drawn. In that one wire is placing, and on that one concentric circle, one plane, the diagram has to be drawn. That is the second question. The third question is, when explained by means of an activity, when current carrying conductor or current carrying wire placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. That is the third question. These three questions only then are there for 8 marks questions. So these all are the lessons for 8 marks questions. Let's brush up again. What are the 8 marks questions from chemical equations and reactions? Number 1, the 4 types of chemical changes. Number 2, then differences between a displacement, double displacement. Number 3, balancing the equations. Number 4, terms, then oxidation, reduction, redox reaction, rancidity, and again corrosion. So these all are the terms. And next, number 2, second lesson. So metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals. The first one is air and water essential for corrosion. That is the first question. And next question. Then reaction of metals with water. Next question. Reaction of metal salts with metal. Reaction of metals with metal salts. Okay, that is the next question. The third lesson is then carbon and compounds. The first one, cleaning action of soap. The next one, differences between then alcohol. This one I skipped, I think, right? And differences between carboxylic alcohol and then alcohol and carboxylic acid, and differences between soap and detergents, and afterwards terms. So the terms are there, and so the homologous series, esterification reaction, substitution reaction, addition reaction, and so this will be the terms. This is about chemistry. In this previous while I was discussing about carbon and compounds, so the differences I missed out, and again I am adding this one. See, these 3 questions you have to, the difference between alcohol and carboxylic acid, and the second one is the differences between soap and detergent. And coming to the physics, then human eye and colorful world, myopia, hypermetropia, the most 2 major questions, and afterwards explain the terms. Atmosphere refraction, why stars appears twinkling, and formation of a rainbow, atmosphere refraction complete, scattering of light, Tyndall effect. These are the most important questions. And afterwards, and current electricity, electricity this year, current electricity, next year learn 12th, class 12, and electricity. In the electricity, Ohm's law, R series and R parallel. These 3 questions now, then circuit must be drawn. And afterwards, the next one is the terms. The terms is Ohm's law. Ohm's law again, Ohm's law will be given in the terms also, Ohm's law, and again what do we call this is Ohm's law, electric current, potential difference, and overload, short circuit and fuse. These are about the physics. And last question is lesson is that is magnetic effects of electric current. In this magnetic effect of electric currents, just 3 questions are there. Number 1, how do you prove that current carrying conductor produces a magnetic field? In the bracket, if a heuristic experiment is given, you can write. The second question is, then how do you prove that current carrying a straight wire produces concentric circles or circular loops? The second one, that straight wire. Difference is for heuristic experiment, and on the ABCD plane, we have to place the magnetic compass. But here on this place, on this XY plane, ABCD plane, then you have to do the concentric circles. Last one is, how do you prove that current carrying produces, how do you prove that when a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force? That will be the question. That's about 8 marks questions. So if you follow only, most probably 99.9%, These questions are there, these all questions all together if we supposed to take excluding the terms, then total 6 lessons, each lesson 3 major questions are there. 6 3s 18 questions. So just perfectly if you are 18, then 8 3s 24 marks will be in your account, right? And so now let's come to the 4 marks questions. In the 4 marks questions, that is just only 2 lessons are there. And the first lesson is that is acids and bases, bases and salts. In this acids, bases, salts, in the 4 marks you have to draw diagrams. So these diagrams, that is the first one is, then majorly in the acid bases salts, 3 diagrams are there. For safe side, take the 4th diagram also. The first diagram is, then how do you prove that? Draw a neat sketch that shows acid solution in water conducts electricity. Okay. The same will be asked, draw a diagram that shows compounds such as glucose, alcohol contains hydrogen but are not categorized as acids. This one also statement will be given. Be careful about this. And afterwards, the second one is, then what is the reaction of the metals with the acids? Draw a neat sketch that shows reaction of metals with acid that produces a hydrogen gas. That is the second diagram. The next one is how do you then draw a neat sketch that shows that metal carbonates reacts with the acids produces a carbon dioxide. That's second. Then the third one. And the fourth one is, then will be asked you draw the pH scale. Okay, and those 4 diagrams you have to draw. That's it for diagrams in this. Then in these 4 marks questions, you have to answer 3 questions. So the first one is that is diagram. So the next one question answer also you have to answer. For this one, it's very easy, very easy. Then now let us see the questions. Those questions only will come. The first one is, then what are the uses of bleaching powder, baking soda, washing soda and plaster of Paris? These 4 salts, you take the definition, you just uses, thoroughly read these uses. Each use maximum 4 uses, plaster of Paris majorly 2 only uses will come. Remaining all, you try to read more uses, because these questions will appear in the exam. Okay, right. And if these questions are skipped by chance, then there will be based 3 questions are there. Those 3 questions only will come. That is the first one is pH based questions, these 3. The first one is, what are the applications of pH in our daily life? That is the first question. The next question is, then pH of milk is 6. Why it is slightly changing into, why it is slightly changing, its pH is changing once it is becoming into curd. That is the one question. And the next question is, and a milkman adds a very small quantity of baking soda to the milk. Why its pH is slightly changing? That is why when it's and why it is taking so much time to set as a curd. These are the 3 questions. So to understand that, and 4 salts there uses, bleaching powder, baking soda, washing soda and plaster of Paris, and 3 pH based questions. Okay, no? So those 3 questions, these questions you read, no, then you will draw the diagram 4 marks on in your account, and the second one is again 1 more 4 marks in your account. Well, now in the diagram also you have a choice. So it seems like one ad is coming, Laddu Kavala, like that this is. And so the second diagram is, then the choice is there. Either you can draw a diagram from the compounds, acids, base, salts. Otherwise, you can draw a diagram even from the light, reflection and refraction. Then what you can draw in light, reflection, diffraction? Majorly, you will be asked you draw ray diagrams for a concave mirror or a convex lens. Concave mirror and a convex lens. You practice all the situations. If you are not finding time to practice all these things, majorly focus on 2 situations. Then what the first situation is, the object is for a concave mirror. If the object is placed at C, then you have to draw where the image is forming. So, but you should know where the object, position of the object, where the position of the image, nature of the image and size of the image. Then you have to memorize this, because sometimes it will be given in the table based question also. Okay, right. So here is, then again, now here if supposed to take, no, then what is this is so object is placed at C, then you have to see where the image is forming. The object image forms at the same place. Sometimes the question will be asked you for the same situation. Draw a ray diagram for a concave mirror where object and image forms in the same place. So the properties of the object is placed at C, image also forms at C only, and it is a real image, and object size, image size same. This is most important peculiar case this is. And the second one is the object is placed between a pole and focus. In situation also, then we can take. In terms of the convex lens, the object is placed at a 2f1, image is forms at a 2f2. If the object is placed between pole and focus, object is forms between the optic center and focus. For a concave mirror you will take pole, and for a convex lens you will take optic center. That is, the object is placed between optic center and focus where the image forms. That also then we have. So in these two situations, that is a virtual image is forming. That's what the most important this is. Okay, no? So these are the ray diagrams. Then better you practice all cases. Easy one, the object is placed beyond C, one case. Object is placed at C, one case. Object is placed between C and F, one case. Object is placed at focus, one situation. Object is placed between pole and focus. Total 5 situations. Better you practice because this only will come. Okay, right. And one more question is there, if acids bases salts question not there, one table you can you need to face one table. This table is coming 4 marks in your account, that's paka, that's sure. What the table is? In the reflection, light reflection, refraction, only one concept is there, that is lucky enough, that is diffractive index concept. You will be given different mediums like air, water, diamond, kerosene, benzene, like this type of mediums, and again their refractive indices values will be given 1.0 air 1.003 and water 1.3, kerosene 1.5, diamond and 2.42, like that the refractive indices will be given. The first question will be asked you, then which is rarer medium, which is a denser medium, in which medium light travels faster, which medium light travels slower. Afterwards, what is the unit of refractive index. Then again find the value of speed of light in the medium. These questions only will be asked you. The relation, now here one more question, what is the relation between a refractive index and a current? This also will be given. It's very simple. Remember only this thing, n is equal to C by V. Okay, n is refractive index, c is speed of light, v is speed of light in the medium. Well, now relation between the refractive index and the speed of light, inverse proportional. More refractive index, less speed. Is it okay? Now, if any medium is having highest refractive index, in that medium speed is very low, so that is a denser medium. Okay, and in any medium refractive index is very less, the speed is maximum, that is a rarer medium. Got it? And afterwards remember this value, c value. C is the speed of light, that is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So that value just you can apply and you can find out the V value. Mostly the will be asked you what is the speed of light in a water, will come 2 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Keep these all things in mind. At least some things, just make it memorize. Okay, right. So, well, we have completed 4 marks questions also. That's great, you got it now. 24 plus 12, 36 marks in your account right now. Well, now let's go with the 2 marks questions. In the 2 marks questions again we have just only 3 lessons. The first one is carbon and compounds. The second one is electricity and human eye and colorful word. In the carbon and compounds, then one major question will be asked you, that is in carbon compounds. Then that is a general formula you have to keep in mind. Alkane, alkene, alkyne. Those general formulas. Alkane CnH2n plus 2. You should memorize this. Alkane CnH2n plus 2. Alkene CnH2n. Alkyne CnH2n minus 2. So the question will be asked you, then 4 or 6 compounds will be given. Then what are those compounds? CH4, C2H6, C2H2. Like that the compounds will be given to you. You will be asked you then 2 questions. Number 1 question. Among the following, which is a saturated hydrocarbon? Okay. Number 2. Then what are alkanes? What are alkanes? Those. And so saturated hydrocarbons, how will you come to know that which is saturated hydrocarbon? It's very simple. Then those are having alkanes or saturated hydrocarbons with a CnH2n plus 2 general formula. So alkyne general formulas are CnH2n, CnH2n minus 2. You need to write those compounds in this structure. You can find out which is which is alkane, which is alkene, which is alkyne. Majorly these questions only will be asked you in the 2 marks questions in the carbon compounds. In the carbon compounds, one more very important thing is functional groups. Then what are the functional groups in our lesson? And halohydrocarbons supports with bond X, and alcohols bond OH, bond OL, aldehyde bond CHO, bond Al, ketone C double bond 1, and carboxylic acid bond COH, bond oic acid, carboxylic acid bond oic acid will be given, bond CHO space will be given in the table, bond CHO aldehyde. Then sometimes functional groups names also will be, prefix will be also asked. So bond Al, like that this will be. So two things only keep in mind. Number 1, then the general forms of alkane, alkynes. Number 2, functional groups are their formulas. Enough? No, not more than that. The question will be asked from the carbon compounds. And coming to the next one, that is human eye and colorful word. In the human eye and colorful word, majorly the questions will be asked you about the questions are asking from the eye. So then what is meant by these definitions will be asked you. So myopia, hypermetropia, those things. And again, then coming to the current electricity. In the electricity, then majorly you will be asked you then the definitions, those all things. Now let us see that. And so then 2 marks carbon compound general formulas, function, light reflection refraction. Yes, light reflection refraction. Then we can see behavior of light, M is equal to behavior of light. Then what is meant by this behavior of light? Then if this is the only question will be given you. The question is, if a light is traveling from one medium to another medium, this is the most important one. If the light is obliquely traveling, oblique means then with the incident surface, if it is making certain angle other than 90, that is we are calling as a oblique. For example, this is if the ray is coming like this, and then we can say that is oblique. This is a perpendicular. And so if the ray is traveling oblique, if it is a rarer medium and a denser medium, then what way the refracted ray will move towards normal, away from the normal, and why? The question will be asked. What will be the speed of light once the medium is, when it is traveling from then one medium to another medium? Will be that rarer to denser, denser to rarer? If the ray is traveling then perpendicularly, what will happen to the ray? Why? Then if both mediums refractive index is the same, the light is traveling in the both cases, then what will happen? These are the questions will be asked. If the ray is traveling from rarer to denser, then it travels towards a normal. Then if it is traveling from denser to rarer, it is away from the normal. That's one question, remember. If the ray is, if both mediums are refractive indices are the same, the light travels then without any deviation, because if both refractive indices are the same, then there is no change in the speed. If the ray is traveling from then one medium to another medium, why its speed is changing? Because of the density of the medium is changing automatically, then it influences the speed of light. That question will be asked. And the next one is in the light reflection refraction, some questions are there, and this is the basic concept the question will come. Then one more question will come, that is the general these questions. Magnification of a plane mirror is a +1. Then justify your answer. Why is that? Magnification of a plane mirror is a +1 in sense. Then we can write see one very important one is when you are writing for the 2 marks questions, you must write points, minimum 2 points you should write. If the magnification of a plane mirror is a +1, the first one answer you have to write, then plane mirror, image distance and object distance both are same. And the second point, then height of the object, height of the image, both are same. So that will be +1. These points you can write. And that's about the light reflection and refraction. And the third one is there, that is a human eye and so light reflection and electricity. So in the electricity, then 2 marks question is there. The first one is in electricity, pose questions. So this is the easiest one. Easily you can grab 2 marks questions. That is the pose questions. What is meant by? So the question will be asked you. Then just explain. Just pose some questions based on Ohm's law. So you write some meaningful questions. Then what is the condition for Ohm's law, for what is the condition to apply the Ohm's law, then what is the relation between potential difference and current, like such type of meaningful questions you ask. Okay, right. And afterwards, next one more question, sir. Then here is from this one some definitions also will be asked. From the analysis we can take then the question. WH based questions will come. WH based questions means why tungsten is using as the white in the filament. Again, then why alloys are using, then impure metals are using as a toasters, then instead of pure metals, such type of, and why series connection is using in the auditoriums and street lights. Why can't we use series connections in household appliances? These are all questions will be asked. Anything else there? And so testers nature of the resistance. Yes. Then if resistance increases, what will happen? The conductivity. If the length of the conductor increases, what is the happiness of the resistance? And so these all things. So here is the formula is R is equal to rho into A by L. So the resistance and length, then how the comparison, those all things we have to discuss. So these are the major three questions, three chapters are the carbon compounds, light reflection and electricity. Then in these lessons, then these questions will come. Coming to the most important one more questions, there you will be. And here is 8 3 is 24 and here is 12 36 and here is the 6 36 and 6 42 marks. Out of 42, 100% you will get 42 marks at any cost. If you follow the same strategy, then there will be possibilities of some little oscillation in one mark questions. No problem. In that one also, then if current electricity is there, from the electricity 2 questions will come. Those questions we can guess easily. In the electricity, some symbols are given in the textbook. Then what are the symbols? Battery, cell, ammeter, voltmeter, resistance, variable resistance, and bulb, and again a switch, and these are given. Those all practice. One symbol will be there in the exam. Okay, no? That's you score 1 mark. And another question is the second one, units. What are the units of the current? Units of current, units of resistance, units of potential difference, units of resistivity. Most important. Often it is coming in the exam. May come in exam. That is, then what is the unit of household electrical energy? Kilowatt hour. Then one more, very frequently asked in every exam, 1 kWh is equal to how many joules? 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules. Okay, no? That question will be asked. Next one, electricity 2 questions, you got it, these 2 questions, okay, you got it. And acid basis salts, 2 questions are there. In the acid basis salts, then 2 questions, the first question is 100% based on indicators. So blue litmus, if in a solution, in one solution that pH is changed into then the red color, it changed into red color. In any one universal solution, the solution has been changed into the red color. What may be its pH likely to be? So once I have given in the answers is, so it changed into red color. The options are, so 1, 3, 4, 10. So what will be the answer? So once if it is changing into the red color, then what we can say, that is a blue to red in sense, then we can take is blue to, it changed into the red color. So then with blue color in sense, then we can take if it is in terms of the blue litmus in sense, that will changes into, and again the pH scale red color in sense, it is nothing but acidic medium. So then one we can write. So like that the question will be. And the second one is, basically then there are 3 indicators will be asked you. One is based on litmus paper. Blue litmus, acidic medium, blue litmus turns into red color. Basic medium, red litmus turns into blue color. And coming to the methyl orange and phenolphthalein. Methyl orange, let us take one numericum, and that is MRY. Mr. Y you remember. Mr. Y means Miss MRY. M stands for methyl orange. R stands for red in acidic medium. Okay, and Y stands for yellow in the basic medium. Mr. Y, you will never forget what is the color of methyl orange in acidic medium, red color, basic medium, yellow color. Okay, the first letters take it, and next one is phenolphthalein. PCP, personal, computer, personal. Remember like this. And phenolphthalein, acidic medium, colorless. Basic medium, pink. Easy to remember this. What is the color of? You try to answer. You try to write in the comments. What is the color of phenolphthalein in acidic medium? Okay, PCP. And what is the color of the basic medium. In the basic medium, in the phenolphthalein, what is the color of phenolphthalein in a basic medium? That you write answer. This is okay. That's about the acid. So electricity 2 questions and acid base also 2 questions, and one more we will study that, and acid bases and formulas definitions. So indicators complete, formulas will come. Then what are the formulas? Most important formulas: bleaching powder, CuOCl2, washing soda, Na2CO3, 10H2, baking soda, NaHCO3, and plaster of Paris, CaSO4, half H2, gypsum, CaSO4, 2H2. So these are formulas you have to remember. Okay, limestone, CaCO3, quicklime, CO. And so these are formulas if you remember now, then you can write easily. And again, very frequently asking one question, definition: define neutralization. So then afterwards, acid plus base, that gives dash plus water, salt plus water, and this type of questions will be asked in the 2 marks questions. And again, now coming to the metals and non-metals. In the metals and non-metals, majorly one question repeatedly asking that, then what is the metal, the metals reacting with oxygen, what they produces? 2 things we can write: metal oxide or also acidic oxides. Metal oxides are acidic in nature. Next one, non-metals reacting with oxygen. Non-metal oxides are basic in nature. Okay, next one, amphoteric oxide definition. So the oxides which exhibits both acidic as well as basic properties. Then what are the examples? Al2O3, ZnO we can write. Remember this: aluminum oxide, zinc oxide. So that's about metals and non-metals. Then what else will be that? Metal oxides. Yes, in the metals and non-metals, one more questions also. WH based questions will be asked. The question is, why do iron articles should be painted? And next one, why do we are using, why the metals, magnesium ribbon should be cleaned before the burning? These type of WH based questions will be asked, creative questions. So what else is there in the acids, bases, WH based and acids, bases? So carbon compounds, metals and non-metals, nature of metals, okay, amphoteric oxides, okay. Now chemical reactions. Chemical reactions also WH based questions will be asked you. Every exam one question is repeatedly asking, why exhaled air is then warmer than the inhaled air? That is one question. The next one is, why should we keep the food in airtight containers? So then again, what is the reason of spoiling the food? What is the reason of the rusting of iron, rusting of metals? Those will be. And different definitions. Definitions, majorly definitions will be like this: exothermic reaction, endothermic reaction, and oxidation, reduction, rancidity, corrosion. These definitions also will be asked. That's about the metals and non-metals. The human and colorful world. The human and colorful world, the question will be asked basically about eye. So what way where the image will form on the retina? What is the distance between the retina and eye? 2.5 centimeters. And apart from that one, then if the eye is changing its focal length, it causes because of what? Ciliary muscles. Based on ciliary muscles, compulsory one question will come. Then MCQs will come based on this one. So that's, anything else is there? Defects. What is the lens? Sometimes the question will be asked you. What is meant by presbyopia? What is a cataract? These all the questions will be asked. Definitions: dispersion, scattering of light, scattering of light, dispersion, scattering of light, atmospheric refraction, and again most important one, Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect, these will be asked you. So what are the lessons? Metals, non-metals, okay. Carbon compounds, carbon compounds. So the last one is carbon compounds. That is, in the carbon compounds, what question will be asked you? First, every time the one question is coming, what are the industrial applications of hydrogenation? Okay, the first one is, it is preparing for the saturated hydrocarbons will be prepared from unsaturated vegetable hydrocarbons. Vegetable unsaturated hydrocarbons can be converted into the saturated vegetable hydrocarbons. It's nothing but margarine or vanaspati or dalda. These terms we can use. And afterwards, what are the uses? Uses of alcohols, vinegar and esters. Then what is meant by esterification? What are we using the saponification? These all things will be asked. Anything else missed? Electricity, okay. Acids, bases, okay. Chemical reactions, human eye, metals, non-metals. Yes, human eye, ciliary muscles also one of the important one. So carbon compounds. Yes, this all about the simple extra discussion about this entire procedure of the exams. So you just go through this entire lesson. These are not lesson, this entire topic, and you take one screenshot and go through this all. Apart from that one, then I'm attaching one PDF also along with this. In this, then 3 SCRT papers and 2 Jyoti, so Vidya Jyoti. So 2 Vidya Jyoti papers, questions, answers also I have written. It is written according to the principles of valuation. Principles of valuation means, for example, if anyone sir is going for preparing the answering the and to valuing the papers, then for them one instruction booklet will be given. So these many for this particularly one question is there, one numerical is given, and the numericals, then these many data 1 mark, half mark. For 2 marks question is data, half mark, formula given, find, formula, procedure. These 4 steps are there. For each step half mark, so 2 marks. And 2 marks questions for every 2 points 2 marks, and 4 marks questions for every 4 points 4 marks. Diagram, neat diagram 3 marks. Then labeling 1 mark, 8 marks questions. Then aim, procedure, aim, operators, procedure supported by the diagram 2 marks. Like that's we are calling as a division of marks. Simply in the terms of the government, what we used to call it as principles of valuation. According to the principles of valuation, I have written the 5 questions answers also. Then I am attaching then that PDF along with this. Okay, well, that's all about this session, and I hope so you just go through these all. In the meanwhile, if you are having any doubts, just ask a question. For every question I will answer. I will give you a clear explanation to you also in the YouTube. Then you can find, you can just ask me a question, you send me a message in the YouTube, then I will answer. Okay, so then go through the PDF and again try to support me, and I hope that this session is most useful for you. Wish you all the God bless you, wish you all the best.